last 9 years. So, as I was saying, this is our 10th year, and I thought I'd start by just telling you a little bit about how we got here. And it started with these three reprobates, all looking a bit less stressed than they do these days, and enjoying diving together. And the problem of diving together is you need to chat about something when you finish diving. And we started talking about the fact that wouldn't it be wonderful to bring a really important underwater image festival to the underwater photography community, and particularly to the British underwater photography community. I think for 3 different reasons UPY came into being. A part of the history that a lot of people don't know is that before we kind of agreed to do it, Dan and I, this is the 3 chaps here, if you don't know, that's me. I usually wear these clothes, but I occasionally have Dan and Peter, who hopefully you know from the UPY roles. Before we agreed to do this, Dan and I thought, well, no, before we let ourselves in for this, we should find out what it's like. So we actually ran a competition the year before UPY to see what it was like, and it was called the Nudibranch Photo Competition, which we thought we'd just do a small contest to see how things worked, and this is the Nudibranch Photo Contest. And it didn't seem that much work to do. And the naive mistake that we made was that running a very small contest with a couple of 100 entries and 5 or 6 winners, that is easy to do. Unfortunately, UPY turned out to be something of a Goliath in photographic terms. And it's been a lot of work, but a lot of enjoyable work doing the real thing. But we are thrilled that it keeps growing and growing, and it has been a wonderful thing to be involved with. The other aspect of UPY is we didn't want to start from scratch, and we looked back into the history, and we saw that in the 60s, in the 70s, and on into the 80s, there was a major photographic competition here in the UK, which celebrated wonderful photography both in the UK and overseas. This is from the 1966 edition. It was reported on all around the world. This is from a magazine in Germany. Colin Doeg, who many of us from B-Soup know, he won British Waters Wide Angle. And Ron Taylor from Australia, who many of you will have heard of, maybe know or met, won International Wide Angle with that picture there, who I presume is his wife Valerie in the picture, although they probably weren't married back then. But we knew this history existed, and it was really important for us to link to that and not let those early days of photography be forgotten. And so we brought UPY back in the 50th anniversary year of that initial competition. And we were very privileged that Mike Busatelli, who's in the middle of this picture here next to me standing up, he actually organised for many of those early pioneers to join us on stage when presenting the awards. And sitting down next to me in the brown jacket there, that's Phil Smith, who was the first underwater photographer of the year, named in 1965. Jeff Harwood here, he was the second the next year. And the underwater photography in those days was kind of a British award. And then by 1968, we realised it was kind of a British award. So Colin Doeg became the first British underwater photographer of the year, and that's Colin on the far side. And it was wonderful to have that link to the past and have that endorsement from the old competition when we kicked off. UPY has obviously grown a huge amount from that, and it's been seen around the world, and we are amazed and astounded by the reception it's received from the first year, particularly by the international media, the fact it's been run and run and run, and millions of people have seen the pictures we've awarded so far, and I can assure you those who are awarded tonight, those same sort of numbers are going to see your pictures by the end of next week, which is just a fantastic thing that people are so excited about underwater imagery. I also would really like to thank all the supporting people that have made this possible. We've had many generous sponsors down the years. I'd particularly like to thank the Scuba Travel team who've sponsored us very generously every single year and are here. And I'd also like to, just to put out, I'd also like to thank our friends at Nauticam, who haven't just sponsored all the years of UPY, they actually were also the sponsor of the original Nudibranch competition as well. So they've been there right from the beginning. But there's a huge number of companies that have supported us this year and in the past that have made all of this possible. I particularly, I'm showing some dodgy old pictures, I'd particularly like to thank Chelsea though. Her support from the Crown Estate has made so many things possible, allowed us to reach a really huge audience, and really, I think, both through their category and through the competition in general, really excite people about and interest people in the relationship that we have with our marine environment here in the UK, how humans use, how humans can enjoy, and how wildlife can benefit around the British coast. So thank you very much for that support down the years. I'm the poor sucker who has to stand up on stage, but UPY is very much a team sport. I think often a lot of the focus is on the judges' side. Our names tend to get thrown around when promoting UPY, and for many years it was Martin Edge in the middle there, who I'm very pleased to tell you is in Sharm el-Sheikh. He was invited to come here tonight, but I'm very pleased to tell you that he's in Sharm el-Sheikh. He's not diving, but he's having a wonderful holiday there, and I was really thrilled to know that he's over there enjoying himself. Myself and Peter sadly isn't here tonight. He had a minor operation this week, and he wasn't allowed to leave Devon for fear of infectious diseases up here in the capital. So, but for anyone who's going, Peter will be at the Go Diving show in a couple of weeks, where we do the public presentation of these awards, so you can meet him there. But the reason I put this picture up is not really to put the spotlight on us guys, but is to remind you that UPY is really a team endeavour, and the engine room of UPY, with that marked out here by Dan and Saeed, is absolutely fundamental for making this competition happen. And I'm going to go on and tell you a little bit more about that in a sec. But before that, Martin 3 years ago decided to retire from judging UPY, and we replaced Martin with our who will forever be known as as the new judge. Our new judge is Tobias, who has not only broadened our expertise, but also raised our average height as well, which is a big benefit to the judge. But he will forever be the new judge, and every year when we start judging, Peter will sit him down and tell him this is how UPY works, for however many years he's been doing it. So that's how things work in the UPY house. So welcome to Tobias for his third year. I'd also like to talk about the wider UPY team as it is now. I'm very proud that everyone who's on the UPY team, past and present, I've been diving with, which is one of the prerequisites of being on the team. But the main prerequisite is that you're willing to work hard. You see the bigger picture of what UPY is worth. It is a huge amount of work to bring this all together. And I'd like to introduce you to Shannon here, who's joined us this year as our social media guru. She's filming stuff today, and hopefully next year she'll be even more involved with more of the jobs at UPY to make things happen. So welcome and thank you, Shannon. I've got some more pictures, don't you worry. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to Saeed here, who this year has done a huge amount in designing a great deal of the materials that you see around for UPY, including some certificates that some of you might be getting in a little while. But more importantly than that, Saeed has also been for the last 2 years the editor and designer of our Underwater Photography of the Year yearbook. That's the cover for this year. And that's a wonderful way to enjoy our pictures. So thank you, Saeed. It's a huge amount of work doing these things. So I'd like to say a big thanks to him. I'd encourage you, when it's live tomorrow, to get online and download the yearbook. We've got a wonderful foreword by the great Howard Hall this year, who was really blown away by all your photos when we sent them to him. And he's written a very, very generous foreword to you photographers for that. So I'd like to say thank you to Howard for that. But I can't finish the thank yous without embarrassing Dan a little bit. Quite simply, UPY couldn't happen without Dan, not only for his technical expertise that allow us to run an amazing website that makes it super easy contest to enter. UPY does something that no other photo competition does, which is within a week of you entering your pictures, we tell you exactly how each of those pictures went along in the contest. And that just can't happen without Dan's technical expertise to be able to take that data and show you that data after we've done the judging. But more than that, it's just the huge graft that's involved in making UPY happen. And I'm incredibly grateful to that. The one other thing I would say about our UPY team is we do keep the judging and the team side of UPY very separate, otherwise we'd never be able to recruit anyone. And we've always allowed the team members to enter the competition. The judging is done very anonymously, as me, Toby, or Peter would tell you. And so there is an occasion where Dan did win a big prize, but I think since then it's been all downhill, Dan. So sorry about the way the judging goes. Right, that's enough of an introduction. We've got plenty to be getting through tonight, and the rest of this evening is me telling you where everyone has finished. I'm going to show you all our awarded pictures. There's a lot to get through. We're going to start with the British categories. At the end of each category, we hit the winner of the category. So within each category, we award commended images, highly commended images, a third place, a runner-up, and a winner. And I'm going to invite the winner of each category to come up on stage and briefly tell us a little bit about their pictures and say thank you. The few people who can't be here today, I have got videos from them to show you instead. I have edited those videos down a little